If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I post a new Tom Brady video every day.
I wonder if he had won another Super Bowl this past year. Yeah. That would have been the finality to this. That he's always going to have unfinished business unless he wins the Super Bowl. But then, that's where you want to come back because you just won the Super Bowl. So it never ends.
The greatest of all time has come back after a 40-day hiatus, a 40-day trip with life as a retired human. Tom Brady has decided, get me the fuck back into some sort of goal-oriented business. After he watched Cristiano Ronaldo, just one game removed from being benched for Manchester United, score a hat trick and then meet him afterwards, we saw a photo hit the internet of Tom watching from the stands. There's a man who's saying, I fucking hate this. Not the soccer game itself. I assume he appreciates and respects great athletes doing their thing. But sitting around all these people, probably a bit boozed up, in awe of what's going on the field.
He feels like he has a chance to win, and he knows he can play.
Then he sees Cristiano Ronaldo, who I don't know if he was friends with before. I'd assume they know each other pretty well. Go out and dominate at the age of 37. Put on a show. Kind of display all the hard work that Cristiano puts on behind the scenes for that moment for all those people to go crazy. Tom Brady sitting amongst the people who are going crazy. My time in the stands will come, he actually said.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to still be out there.
I don't think he could stomach come August when the training camps opened, not being in the mix, not knowing that he's as good or better than most of the quarterbacks out there, if not all of them, and that he could still lead a team. And that's what he loves to do. I mean, there's not many of these guys. There's exactly one of them, but he loves to play the game. I mean, I think his love of football, as much as anything, is what this is about. And certainly he doesn't have to prove anything to anybody else but himself. And I just think he felt like he would be too miserable watching right now, knowing that he's that good and he can still make a difference and lead a team to a championship.
Tom Brady can still sling it. He can still do it. And he's taking a risk. Let's be honest. He could have walked away on top, maybe not after the confetti. I think the thought was they wouldn't win a Super Bowl in their first year, but maybe their second, and they kind of did it in reverse, right?
Is this a bigger play? Always trying to get to San Francisco so he can go play for the team that he loved growing up as a child. Who knows what the case is? What I do know is the game's better when Tom's playing, excited that he's here. I thought he was maybe going to go to the booth or some other business and dominate. I assume he'll do both of those at some point in his life. He's back playing football for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were able to keep Ryan Jensen off the market. They were able to keep a couple other plays. Let's assume Gronk is going to go back there. They did lose an offensive lineman. Kappa guard is going to the Cincinnati Bengals. And that is what today will bring. So Tom saying yesterday he's going back to Tampa Bay was, I think, in hopes of keeping people out of this legal tampering period because they have a lot of unrestricted free agents as starters down there. He had to give the bird call to everybody. Hey, you're probably already thinking about what your deal's going to be at the next place. Just want to let you know I'm coming back. We can run this back one more again if you'd like to. And that's what Tampa has to figure out.
Well, number one, we got the GOAT that we're talking about is coming back. Number two, chances are that all of those dudes who were planning on leaving, like you so eloquently pointed out, may rethink things because they know he's coming back.
Dan, he was playing as good a football as he has ever played. I mean, the tape shows it. The arm strength was certainly there. He led the league in passing, 5,316 yards, 43 touchdowns. Hell, they should have won that last game. He brought him back, down 24 or whatever it was. They tie it up with under a minute to go. And if not for some really bad defense down the stretch, the Rams kick the field goal and win, but if the Bucs win that game, they're hosting San Francisco, right? And maybe they go on and win the Super Bowl. And I think Tom realized that, and he said it. I mean, I don't know what unfinished business you could have, but he's found some. And I think that he just felt like when he gets to September, he's going to know he should be playing football. And, that decision needed to be made, and it needed to be made, before today.
Tom definitely sitting up there amongst the English hooligans, seeing how they act during the game, and then seeing Cristiano dissect. Definitely a part of the whole, I'm f***ing done with this.
Yeah, for sure.
Get me back in the goddamn arena.
He did appear on his Let's Go pod and said never say never to the concept of being done. And then, Fred Couples, during Combine Week, he winds up on Fred's podcast and says something along the lines of he's just enjoying hanging out with his family and he's sleeping in his own childhood bedroom and, and then he'll assess how things look in June. And at that point in time, he had to be well down the road of this decision. Any idea about the timing of when he actually decided this was not going to happen?
Yeah, I've asked people that, and I can't get a straight answer, and maybe it's because they don't know. Maybe Tom will have to tell us if there was a moment, right, when he was doing something, watching something. For the near as I can figure, in talking to people around him, coaches and whatnot, it came down to this. The guy can still flat out play. He's a football player. This is what he does, and he does it as well as anyone in the world. He always has.
So if Brady is anything, though, he's super hyper competitive. We know that, right? He's very driven, very competitive, very aspirational. I think some of this is, number one, Tom looked around the NFC. Russell Wilson left the conference. San Francisco is relying on a kid, Trey Lance. Arizona's talented but noisy. Dallas always underachieves. And Aaron Rodgers got more money, but you're already seeing this morning they have to get rid of people. And Tom looked around and thought, okay, what's my roadblock? The Rams. But Tom's been in this league long enough. Winning back-to-back Super Bowls is almost impossible in this league. It's almost impossible. Guys get a little fat and lazy. They go to too many, parades. They have an extra beer in the offseason. It's just not the same. So much of the NFL, because the competition is so close, so much of it is your offseason. Do you come in ready to go? So I think a big part of it is Tom looked around at the landscape. And we talked about this. Joy and I talked about this. You kind of look around, you're like, man, the bottom of the NFC is big. There's a lot of bad teams and a lot of easy W's, and his division stinks. And the other thing, I think, is dad guilt. I think highly driven moms and highly driven dads always struggle with guilt. Am I spending time with my kids? Am I spending time with my husband or wife? And Tom had dad guilt. But his kids are getting older. If you've got kids, by 12, 13, they got options too. And his wife, she doesn't stay home much. International. Giselle's busy. The kids have a life. And Tom, after about 6-7 weeks, is like, okay, it's 10:45 in the morning. Anybody want to hang out?
You mentioned about 5 dudes on the defensive side of the ball. I think 3 of them will end up staying. I think an Indomitian dude will end up staying. I think a Jason Pierre-Paul would end up staying. I think about a couple of other cats, they may be staying as well. On the offensive side of the ball, I think a guy like Gronk will come back because he's good for big play situations, not over the course of 16 games during the regular season. But when money time arrives, I think he's somebody that you can depend on so long as he's healthy at that particular moment in time. Whether it's Leonard Fournette or somebody else, I think they'll be back. You think Godwin, obviously, he got hurt. He could be back. Mike Evans is still there. There is some chemistry.
Was it immediately upon retirement he felt like he was forced into it because of the public pressure, because Schefter and them already announced it? And was he thinking about it, teetering on it? And then whenever it was, publicly out there, did he feel like obligated to do so almost for all his family and friends? Or is this just classic guy who's the most competitive human of all time, realizing what life is like without the chance to compete for every single day to get better and realizing he wanted to get back?
That team is owned by the Glazer family, and that shows again that there is a trust there. There's a bond there. And, this notion that he would go play somewhere else, I never really thought that was a great possibility. The 49ers had said no to him when they drafted Gio Carmazzi. They said no to him when he left New England. I don't think he was going to give him a chance to say no a third time. So if he was going to play, he was going to play here.
That's it for this video. I post a new Tom Brady video every day, so please like and subscribe. That way you'll always have a new Tom Brady video to watch every single day.